What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. But you guys, our week 3 WBE team builder here. The Minnesota Vikavolts are taking on the Atlanta Umbreons and coach FeintAttacks. We are sitting at 1 win and 1 loss after a loss against Envy last week, and now we are taking on the Umbreons, who are 0-2. He's lost to the Don fans and I believe to Patters and the Nido Kings. But he's got a pretty powerful team. I'm going to break down my team, break down his team in reverse order, talk about what we're bringing, and as always, do our normal team building grind. If you guys could hit that like button down below, show that you like the team builders, and of course, get ready for the matchup going up tomorrow. Now, before we go any further, I did make a free agent maneuver. I don't know if he announced it himself, but definitely I am dropped Drapion, so that was a free agent, and then I immediately grabbed it. I dropped Archeops for Drapion. The reason being, and I'll talk about this in the match briefly as well if I remember, is Drapion gives me a secondary dark type to Mega Gyarados, and it also gives me a grounded poison type that can set toxic spikes, and also give me some knockoff spam, so I felt like it was a good fit for the team. So, and it doesn't really share weaknesses with Gyarados or anything, so it's only weaknesses to ground, and I feel like with having Gyarados, with having Landorus, a Shaman, things like that, and a Vikavolt, I felt like its typing really fit the team really well. So, in looking at Christian's team here, he's got the Garchomp, of course, and his Z Crystal is Groundium Z, so Ground Z Earthquake could be very scary, but otherwise, you know, Garchomp generally in this matchup runs 102 speed, probably max speed, or he brings like a defensive set with, you know, Stealth Rocks. Could be a lead. He's got the Toxapex, which honestly I feel like Toxapex is a weird matchup because it can be brought as a defensive response to things like Gyarados, but it also could just turn into setup fodder. This is a really cool situation where Drapion actually helps me because if he does use Toxic Spikes, I can simply absorb them. So as bulky as Toxic Spikes is, it can potentially be setup fodder in this match, so he's got to be really careful there. He's got the Decidueye, which is a hazard remover, defog option, U-turn pivot, and just a bulky grass and ghost type Pokemon, which could be a bit annoying. He's got the Zoroark, which is one of the bigger threats on the team. 105 base speed allows him to outspeed a lot of my threats, and it can be really offensive with mixed sets like physical and special attacking. You know, I have a hard time switching into its dark type stab, its knockoff, and it does have the illusion ability, which is going to disguise it as something else, so it's going to be really difficult for me to determine what that is. So it's going to be important for me to set up Stealth Rocks early so I can try to discover what that Zoroark is disguised as, and I'm going to brush up on my disguise mechanics here after I do this team builder before the battle, because I want to make sure I fully understand how it works. But I'm pretty sure Zoroark disguised itself as the last Pokemon in the party, and if that last Pokemon in the party faints, it can redisguise itself as something else as long as it hasn't taken a hit yet. So I'm pretty sure that's how it works, but I do want to just double check on that. He's got the Miltank. Miltank is very bulky. If he brings it, it's likely a Stealth Rock setter, maybe carries Thunder Wave. I can see him running Thick Fat or Sap Sipper, but most likely Thick Fat if I had to guess, to kind of sponge my ice type moves. Potentially aimed from Alolan Sandslash and Alolan Ninetales. He's got the Hitmonchan, which actually I really wanted to draft this season. But nevertheless, Hitmonchan provides a rapid spinning option, but more importantly in this match, it gives him a Mach Puncher with likely Ice Punch or something like that, so I definitely can see that coming. Mega Gardevoir is just a huge wall-breaking threat. It hits incredibly hard with its Pixelate Hyper Voices, and it can also carry Focus Blast for some of my resists like Empoleon. In this matchup, I fully expect Gardevoir to come, and I think he could potentially bring a Calm Minding Gardevoir, which would be very scary to deal with. He's got the Zapdos, which I've always wanted to draft and might be on my list for my next team. Zapdos is a very bulky flying and electric type Pokemon with access to U-turn, which is always so nice in draft league format, having an electric type that can U-turn. But it's got Roost for reliable recovery. It's very bulky and it can defog, and now I can defog with the static ability. So you have to be really careful because you could get paralyzed just making contact with that thing. He's got the Acelgor, which surprisingly is a threat in this matchup as well. Like a Life Orb, Bug Buzz, Sludge Bomb, Acelgor set with Focus Blast could be really problematic. I mean, I have a couple defensive Pokemon that should be able to handle it relatively well, but definitely scary nevertheless. He's got the Aggron, AGGron, of course. Aggron, very bulky Steel-type Pokemon. I have a hard time thinking he brings it just because I feel like I have so many things that can match up well against it, but nevertheless it can set Stealth Rocks, but more importantly you normally see it with like Rock Polish and Sturdy. And then Yanmega, of course. Yanmega is just a huge threat offensively, has that huge Stealth Rock weakness, which is why getting Stealth Rocks up is going to be so important on this matchup, especially if I see Yanmega in preview. But Tinted Lens, Bug Buzz is a very scary, and You know, he could bring speed boost with protect. And then last but least, his Groundium, last but not least, is his Groundium Z, which really pairs with the Garchomp mostly. There's not a ton on his team that wants to, that really is going to be Z Earthquaking or using that Earthquake or Earth Power. Like I said, Garchomp really, Aggron, and then potentially Miltank, but you're not really going to see that too often. So realistically, he's just pairing it mostly with the Garchomp. So that's probably what you'll see there if he brings his Z Crystal, but I don't think it's that great of a Z Crystal. It's not very versatile on his team, although, you know, Rocky MZ is, you know, only mildly versatile on my team, but we are bringing it this week. So let's talk about our team and what we're bringing. So I'm going to bring my Alolan Ninetales here, bringing a Life Orb offensive Ninetales with Nasty Plot. This thing is super duper offensive, and you can probably see why. The only thing on his team that outspeeds this thing is the Selgor. Otherwise, I outspeed everything on his team unless he's running Choice Scarf, and we obliterate things, man. Blizzard is incredible. Nasty Plot on the Toxapex, I can freeze dry it. You know, if I get a Nasty Plot up, he really has nothing that switches in comfortably. Even Gardevoir doesn't want to take repeated blizzards and stuff like that with hail chipping it away. So, you know, Ninetales just offensively looks phenomenal in this match. It pressures the Zapdos, it pressures the Garchomp, it pressures Decidueye, it pressures Zoroark, it pressures Hitmonchan. Like, you can see why offensive Ninetales just makes so much sense in this match. The key to offensive Ninetales this week is getting it in for free with U-turns, with Volt Switches, or, you know, after a Pokemon goes down and exerting that offensive pressure. The next Pokemon we're bringing is going to be our Nukier, our Reuniclus, bringing the Assault Vest Regenerator set. Reuniclus leads our team in kills this season after the Calm Mind Reuniclus we brought in week 1, put in a lot of work against Nexus and picked up 4 kills. This time we're bringing a Regenerator Assault Vest set, which shows a little bit about Reuniclus's versatility. We're bringing Psyshock and Focus Blast, which are pretty straightforward to hit the Toxapex, and then Focus Blast for things like Aggron and Zoroark, but I'm getting pretty creative here. I think this thing could force some switches, so Knockoff ends up being pretty useful. If he potentially goes into a Zoroark or a Decidueye, I can knock off, potentially get rid of their items, and provide team support. And then Gyro Ball, which you may find kind of surprising, but Gyro Ball is actually there for Mega Gardevoir. This is one of my primary responses to Mega Gardevoir in this match, is I can switch in and take multiple Hyper Voices, and I can regenerate her up a lot of that health. But Gyro Ball is really good against Gardevoir because it's going to do over 50% health, and it ignores the Calm Mind boost. So some pretty interesting strategy there. Reuniclus obviously being very slow, so its Gyro Ball is going to be actually pretty effective against something like a Gardevoir. And again, it's to dodge those Calm Minds, because Calm Mind Gardevoir is really, really good against my team. I don't know if it's something he would bring, but I wouldn't be surprised. And even though Reuniclus only has like base 65 attack, because it's so slow, that Gyro Ball actually does a decent amount of damage. So pretty cool there. The next Pokemon is going to be our Jafar here, our Landorus, bringing the offensive Rock Polish, Swords Dance, Dual Dancing, Stone Edge, Earthquake Landorus with Rocky MZ. This thing, if it can get a Rock Polish up or a Swords Dance up to break, is going to be very difficult for his team to deal with, especially if things are weakened. I think I'm probably going to use it more early mid-game, but obviously I have to worry about Tech HP Ice. Like, I feel like Zapdos could have it, Hitmonchan's probably gonna have Ice Punch, Miltank could have Ice Punch, Zoroark is gonna have HP Ice. Like, there's a lot of things on his team that are likely gonna have, you know, some sort of response to this, so that actually makes Garchomp one of the best things I could bring this in against. If he's bulky Zapdos, I outspeed, and we're gonna outspeed things like Adamant Hitmonchan, but generally this thing, it needs to come in on something that it can click, you know, Rock Polish on and get that speed boost. But realistically, like I said, you know, Rock MZ Stone Edge looks really good against his team, especially against that Zapdos, which otherwise can take an Earthquake. So it's about finding the opportunity to get Landorus in, especially against like a Garchomp, and be able to set up that Rock Polish. So we're going to be looking to do that. We've got our Vikavolt here coming back, a bulky Vikavolt. You know, historically in NPA, I used a more offensive Vikavolt specs and agility, but this time I've been bringing some more bulky sets. This one's Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice, Thunderbolt, and Roost. Hidden Power Ice, I have enough special attack investment to make sure I, you know, OHKO non-bulky Garchomp, and even bulky Garchomp I have a chance to OHKO. I've got the Thunderbolts on there, which two-shots the Zapdos and does a tremendous amount to Miltank. Non-specially defensive Miltank takes a ton from that. Roost is for longevity. I can heal up. You know, I can roost up on things like Decidueye. I can roost up on things like, you know, potentially Miltank and Hitmonchan, and this thing has some defensive bulk as well to kind of help me take on that Hitmonchan a little bit better, which is likely carrying like Mach Punch, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, and then maybe Rapid Spin. I don't know if he can fit Fire Punch on there, so you know, hopefully we can kind of, you know, take on that Hitmonchan relatively well and use Roost effectively. Volt Switch is phenomenal. Again, I can Volt Switch around and gain some momentum, which is really important, especially like I said, getting, you know, Jafar or Ninetales in kind of for free is really important in this match. And you know, like I said, his one Volt Switch stop is that Garchomp, and it doesn't want to take a hit in Power Ice. So, and Garchomp really doesn't do a crazy amount to me. Like, yes, he can Dragon Claw or Outrage, or if he's carrying Stone Edge, but you know, Garchomp typically struggles with move slots, so he may have a tough time there fitting everything on there. Next, we're bringing our Empoleon here, the Shuka Berry Empoleon. This may be my lead. I'm a little torn on lead. It's going to depend on what I see from his team. My lead is either going to be Vikavolt or Empoleon. Vikavolt, if I see Zoroark, I probably go Empoleon. If I don't see Zoroark, I probably lead Vikavolt. It's one or the other, really. But Empoleon looks really good in this match as well defensively. It can switch into Gardevoir because it resists the Psychic and the Fairy-type stab. It does not want to take a Focus Blast, though. I've got the Shuka Berry, which reduces the power of Ground-type moves, so this thing is going to be able to take an Earthquake from Garchomp, and I can use the Shuka Berry to live that hit. I have enough special attack investment to guarantee the Oko with Ice Beam. Ice Beam also pressures the Zapdos if that thing comes in or tries to, you know, get in on a free Scald or something like that. And then again, Stealth Rock and Defog is just to support the team. I don't want Rocks up on my side of the field, but I want him up on his side. It's going to be difficult, but again, it's a really big priority in this match to get those Rocks up to help me identify the Zoroark if I can, and also weaken down that Zapdos, which is going to be very bulky and difficult to take down. And of course, our newest member of the team is Venemax here, which is actually my nickname for Toxapex, but I love the nickname so much, I'm bringing it on this Drapion here. We're bringing Adamant Max Attack, Bulky Assault Vest, Venemax here. This thing has enough speed for things like Hitmonchan. It's going to outspeed, you know, bulky Miltanks and things like that and be able to knock off. It's a great response to Zoroark, its Dark-type stab, and does have that Assault Vest to be able to take some hits. It can take a hit from Gardevoir and fire back a big Poison Jab, which is nice. You can also take some hits from Zapdos and pressure things like Toxapex with Earthquake, so he's not going to be able to freely just recover stall me there. We can also take on the Acelgor relatively well and take one hit from the Yanmega. So that's kind of the plan there. This Drapion is also, it absorbs Toxic Spikes from Toxapex, which could be really important in this match if he gets them up and I need to absorb them. So he probably doesn't expect Drapion, you know, and especially since it was a new addition to the team, he might not expect it for sure. But either way, Battle Armor prevents us from being crit, and this thing is just kind of a glue piece. Pursuit is really nice for Decidueye. If he brings that in and I want to get rid of it, I could just Pursuit it. Decidueye is one of the few things that can kind of take on the Landorus decently well. You know, so once that kind of thing, if I can get Pursuit that off, that'd be nice. And again, you know, having Pursuit there, it could be useful for a couple things, but it's really for Decidueye if he brings it. So that's the team, man. That's the squad. This match is gonna be a tough one, though. I'm not gonna lie. He's got a decent matchup against my team, so I think it really comes down to just being able to use Ninetales offensively and pressure with that. And I have to play my Landorus well. If I can get my Landorus in and not just die to HP Ice, I think we'll be in good shape. But I feel like it's going to be pressured very, very hard by hitting Power Ice, so I got to find the right opportunities to do that. And that might mean just bringing Landorus in when I see Garchomp, just saying, you know what, I just got to bring it in, and if he's teching HP Ice on Garchomp, then so be it. But it seems like Landorus is going to be one of my best switch-ins to that Garchomp early game, and it's going to be my few windows of opportunity to potentially set up on it. So that's our squad, man. Hopefully I can pick up a W here. I'd like to be 2-1. 1-2 doesn't sound too good to me. Thank you guys for watching. The match will be up tomorrow. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace. Thanks so much for checking out my last video. If you like that one, you'll definitely like this one, and be sure to subscribe for more as I post Pokemon videos every single day.